Hi everyone. So my name is Ben Newbold. I'm from Velocity Academy, and today what I'm going to show you on this short webinar is about the digital apprenticeship service. So the digital apprenticeship service, so if I just share the second screen now, the digital apprenticeship service is being launched by the government, and it is for all employers and training providers, a platform for them to use in order to pull down the correct funds and to reserve funds for apprenticeship training. You won't be able to now enroll onto an apprenticeship without the apprentice details and the funding being reserved on the digital apprenticeship service. So if we can just share the second monitor, there we go. So on here, this is the login for the digital apprenticeship service. All you need to do is to type into your browser digital apprenticeship service, and then you would be taken to a page like this in order to sign in. If you're an employer and you don't already have an account on the digital apprenticeship service, you can create one just nice and quickly just by clicking this create an account button. It'll ask for some details, and then you can nice and easily set an account up. Alternatively, we do have an account on here already. So I'm going to log into that account now. I'm going to jump into it and show you what's available on the service. So I'll just input my details and sign in. So guys, like I've already mentioned, the digital apprenticeship service, you would not be able to enroll any apprentices, either new apprentices or existing staff, on an apprenticeship without it going through this service now. So previously there have been some incentives available for employers when they do hire an apprentice. However, those incentives have run out now. So there is just an important notice at the top there for any employers that did employ any brand new apprentices within that window, that they do need to do their claims. So if you are one of those employers and you haven't done your claim on the apprenticeship service yet, it is down to yourself to jump in and do that. So make sure that you do that. So this is the dashboard for the digital apprenticeship service. You have got a number of different like headings here. You've got home, which is this that you see in here. As you scroll down, it does kind of have the company name, the account ID, agreement ID for all of your agreements that you sign for the government. And then it has the different headers. So this is where you can manage your apprenticeships during this section. Further down, you can manage your finances. So it'll be things such as like your funding reservations, the incentives. In order to claim for the incentives, you need to do that through here as well. You can manage your account as well. So this is where you can manage your organization agreements. If you want different members of your team to have access to this account, so if you are quite a large employer, and you have like a finance team that you want access to this, or a HR team, you can add them on here. And in order to enroll into the digital apprenticeship service as well, as an employer, you do need a PAYE scheme number, because apprentices do need to be on payroll. And if you have a payroll that you do at the end of each month, you will have a PAYE scheme reference number. If you don't know it off the top of your head, just ask your accountant or your accounts department, and they will be able to tell you what your PAYE scheme reference number is. If you get your payroll documentation at the end of each month, though, you will be able to locate your PAYE scheme reference number in your payroll documentation as well. So they are the headings, and this is everything that you can manage on digital apprenticeship service. So first and foremost, if you are a brand new employer and you are wanting to reserve funding for an apprentice, what you would need to do is you would need to have a look at adding, you would need to have a look at reserving your funding in the finance section. So you click into there, and you'll be able to see some of the funding reservations that we've got, but you can reserve funding here. So you go reserve more funding, reserve funding, choose the organization that you want to reserve funding for. So if you got more than one organization linked up to your digital apprenticeship service, so let's say if you're if you're Velocity Group, for example, and within that it has Velocity First and Velocity IT Academy, so there'll be two subordinates of that group. You would have access to those there. And it's just a nice, simple kind of click-through flow that you've got. So do you know which apprenticeship training program that they're going to take? If you click yes, you just start typing it in there. So for example, digital level 3. But if you don't know it as well, you can just click no also. But I'm just going to utilize the digital marketer level 3. You can change the course on your reservations as well, so don't worry about that if it does change. If you wanted a level 3 digital marketer and then further down the line you realize, oh no, actually the business needs are not a digital marketer, it's more a business administrator, you can jump in and change your reservation. But make sure that that is prior to the apprentice starting their apprenticeship. It'll then ask, when will the apprentice start their apprenticeship training? It'll give you a 3-month window. So ideally, you would want them to start within the next 3 months. So you would select whichever month that they are going to be looking to start within. So if I select March, and then it says apprenticeship funding is available to train and assess your apprentice. And then it'll say a simple yes, no, would you like to reserve the funding or would you not like to reserve the funding? And then if I just say yes, confirm, it will then take you to this page where you have successfully reserved the funding for apprenticeship training. What you would then need to do, so reserving the funding is the first kind of protocol that you would need to do in order to enroll an apprentice. Secondly, what you would then need to do is, if you're already working with a training provider, you need to look to give them permissions. If you haven't got a training provider yet, you can find a training provider on this service. Simply by clicking find a training provider, and then it'll take you to that window. Alternatively, if this is for a staff member that you currently have on board, so somebody who's already working for you, you can go straight in and add the apprentice details for this funding reservation. Or otherwise, if you are looking for someone, so you've reserved the funding for a brand new starter that you don't know who it is yet, you can use the recruit and apprenticeship service. So by clicking that button, it will then take you through to the National Apprenticeship Service site, where you can then look to put a job post on there for your apprenticeship. And it does get quite a lot of traction on that National Apprenticeship Service site as well. So yeah, that is what is available once you have reserved your funding. But if I just go straight, let's imagine now that I have got somebody and I want to enroll them onto an apprenticeship, so I'm going to look to add the apprentice details. So if I click continue there, so before you start, you must have this information. So in order to straight away add apprentice details, you need to know the name of your apprentice, and you also need to know your training provider that you want the course to be delivered through. Now, in order to identify your training provider, you would need your UK PRN number. This is what every training provider would have. They'll have access to their UK PRN number. They'll be able to send you that for you to then go in and add the apprentice to your reservations. You would then need to make sure that the organisation that's named on the contract is the training provider. And you also then need to make sure that the PAYE scheme that each apprentice is paid through is on your account as well. So just to kind of give you an example, you would not be able to hire, if you had a large organization, so a group name, so if we were Velocity Group and we had a number of different companies within us, that apprentice would need to work for the specific subordinate company with the specific PAYE scheme reference number on their payroll, and it needs to be done through their account. So it can't be through a different. So if you were a company that owned a number of different companies, then you need to ensure that the actual apprentice is going through that PAYE scheme payroll number, that they are on their actual account for that organization. Okay, so you just click start now. You can search for the UK PRN number. So you would put the organization's UK PRN number within there. It'll come up with the organization. It will then take you to another screen where you would then input the apprentice details in there as well. And that would then add the apprentice to the funding reservation. After that step, it would then notify the training provider to confirm that cohort. The training provider would then confirm the cohort, which will then confirm everything at that side. So everything will be confirmed from the employer side, from the training provider's side, and then training can then look to begin. And that is essentially how you reserve the funding and then how you add apprentices to the site on the digital apprenticeship service. So that's how you manage the funding. On the apprenticeship section, you can manage your apprenticeship advert. So again, how I've already mentioned, how you can use this system to hire apprentices. You can use this system to access the National Apprenticeship Service, to find candidates. You can access that as an employer. You can also find apprenticeship training as well. So that'll be like a directory of approved training providers. So if you don't currently have a training provider, or if you have a specific apprenticeship training need within your organization. So for example, if you wanted hairdressing, there'll only be a certain set number of training providers that would deliver hairdressing. So you'd be able to look to find that apprenticeship training without going on Google and getting amassed by the amount of search results on there. You can use this service to try and find specialist providers that deliver the training that you are after. And you can also have a look at your training providers, because on this service, when you link with a training provider, you would need to give them permissions in order to add apprentices and upload cohorts and so on. So you can manage that on here as an employer as well, because apprenticeships now are employer-led, very taking a step back from them being training provider-led. Apprenticeships now are employer-led. So the employers have the power to choose what training provider that they want. They have the power in order to work with training providers and not work with training providers and search for other different training providers. And that's what the Digital Apprenticeship Service allows them to do. So yeah, that is basically a one-stop shop of the Digital Apprenticeship Service. You can also look to claim your new hire apprenticeship payments as well. So again, if you had hired an apprentice within the given window that the government had last year, you would then be able to claim an incentive for the new hire scheme. And that claim needs to be done by the employer on their Digital Apprenticeship Service site. And if I just scroll up, if you do find yourself being one of those employers, it does have the information here. Employers can now apply for a payment of £3,000 for a new apprentice with an employment start date of the 1st of October 2021 to the 31st of January 2022. So the employment start date must be between those dates. These apprentices must also have an apprenticeship start date of the 1st of October 2021 to the 31st of March 2022. Applications close by the 15th of May 2022. So if you do find yourself within those dates that you have hired somebody and then enrolled them onto an apprenticeship, you could claim £3,000 incentive by the government, which is paid 50% upon 90 days on program, and then the other 50% upon completion of the program. And that is everything on the Digital Apprenticeship Service, guys. So I hope that has been a nice one-stop shop, a little quick guide of how to reserve funding, and also a quick guide of how to add apprentices onto the system as well, and also how to find training providers. Remember, if you're working with a training provider, you need that UK PRN reference number in order to find them on there. So make sure that you've got that, and that'll allow you to utilize the Digital Apprenticeship Service. Okay, well, that is everything, guys. Well, I hope that has been helpful. If you do have any questions or queries on the Digital Apprenticeship Service or apprenticeship funding, please feel free to give Velocity Academy a call. We're more than helpful to help out and guide through any of this process. All of our employer contact team is trained on this process as well, so we can help you step by step and we do have a number of guides available on how to utilize this service as well. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, everybody. And please feel free to go to the Velocity Academy website, have a look at the different apprenticeships that we do deliver on there. We do have a great array of digital apprenticeships and management and business apprenticeships on there available for organizations. So if you do have any apprenticeship needs within those sectors, please feel free to contact us at www.velocity-pt.co.uk, and I'll look forward to seeing you the next time. Okay, guys, thank you very much.